Good morning. The title that I've chosen for today is 2012, When I Laugh Until I Cry. Those that follow my daily videos know that for the past week I have engaged in what I call laughter therapy as a result of watching the documentary LAUGHOLOGY. In trying to maintain the practice and discipline, I admit that it is sometimes really hard to laugh. When I hear about things like my friend Carolyn Meyers being in the hospital, whistleblower Bill Brockbrader being arrested, and other gross injustices in the system, crying feels like a more appropriate response than laughing. Indeed, there have been a few times that my laughter turned to tears. I wish I could say that they were tears of joy, but that would not be true. I still feel much sadness. Indeed, after yesterday's video, Carolyn's sister sent me an email, or posted on my wall actually, about Carolyn being in the hospital with a collapsed lung due to smoking. Anyway, Carolyn, early on last year, sent me literally scores, if not 100 or 200 friend requests. I actually almost got pulled from Facebook for trying to befriend too many people, and Carolyn was sending me everybody that was on her friend list. She was recommending that they friend me. And so there's a lot of ties between Carolyn and myself, and mutual friends now, even though I've never actually met her. I've talked to her on the phone a couple of times, but I've never actually met her. And then last night, when I got back from my meeting, my friend Nancy had sent me a clip of about Bill Brockbrader and information about Bill Brockbrader. And if you don't know him, he first was announced to the world as Bill Wood on Project Camelot, and was interviewed with, I think David Wilcox and Bill Wood at one point were interviewed together, or maybe I'm mixing that up with Drake and David Wilcox. In any case, I greatly admire Bill Brockbrader for his courage in admitting his mistakes, admitting the things that he has done that he's not proud of, and coming public and just letting his shadow, the shadows of his life, the skeletons in his closet, be exposed to the light of day, which is tremendously healing. And everybody, I believe, ultimately is going to have to do that in some manner in order to become whole. I absolutely believe that that's true. Maybe it's not, but I think for a lot of people it is true, and certainly for those of us that have the courage to tell the truth about ourselves and the things that we're not proud of. Those that lead the way in doing that set the stage to make it easier for those that will follow in becoming whole and in embracing the principles of unity consciousness as opposed to separation consciousness. Another thing that has tremendously challenged me over the past couple of days at least is the continued attempts by those in the Republic to make Christianity the authorized religion by saying that the Bible is the cornerstone of our law form, that the Bible is right up there with the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights. which is absolutely a violation of the Bill of Rights, First Amendment. And then I see people that like me went to court. There's another one posted on my Facebook page today, had a court appearance, and we go in with all of the paperwork prepared, going by the letter of the law as it is in the Constitution and as it is in Supreme Court rulings, etc., etc. We have the letter of the law on our side, and still the judges make rulings that are outlaw rulings. They're outside of the law. They're looking at a totally different thing, and everybody in the world seems to be running scared. Scared of losing what they think they have had, which was only an illusion ever. Ever. It was only an illusion. The Christians thinking that in order to keep from being pushed down and cast aside, that they have to push their religion on everybody else, because that way their religion can be secure. And that's the exact same thing that the de facto government is doing in the courts, what the politicians are doing in making grossly outrageous laws and putting them on the books, even though they ultimately will fall. They continue to try to shore up an untenable position of being the dominant force. And yes, the fundamentalist Christians, or fundamentalists anything, try to shore up an untenable position. It's not maintainable at all. It's not sustainable. That I'm right and everybody else is wrong. That is always an error position. Always. It can't be any other way. Whether it's me that's doing it or whether it's somebody else that's doing it. It's never a position of truth. Because the truth is, each person's experience is true and real for them. And even if they are diametrically opposites, they are true for the individual that's going through the experience. That's the way our reality, or our consciousness, I should say, functions in the dualistic reality that has become not just dualistic, but dualism. Where, as I've said so many times, where we try to go to war against the shadow part of ourselves, the opposite part of ourselves that we don't recognize as being part of ourselves. We don't recognize it. That's why I say there's no wholeness in separation consciousness. Not ever. Cannot possibly be. And yet, so much of the world has been brainwashed that separation consciousness is the way it is. It's a perpetual war between good and evil. No, it's not. It's a perpetual dance between opposites. And good and evil are judgments. Judgments that we make. Assessments that we make. Is there evil? Yes, I believe there is. There are experiences that properly are classified as evil. When any person tries to push their viewpoint, their particular idiosyncrasies on everybody else to make it the norm, so that they can shore up their insecurity and guard against their own insecurity, which is fear, which is fear-driven, fear-based. There is no healing in that. And yet, we have to know the truth. We have to admit what we've done that is insane in order to be healed of the insanity, in order to make ourselves whole and to become saved, if you will, from our own craziness. In order in order to be individualized, we have to go through these painful processes. And while I am still an advocate of laughter, I have to admit that over the past few days, the laughter has been very difficult. I've been trying to work on my own legal situation. I have to produce paperwork for the bankruptcy court in regard to the plaintiffs filing bankruptcy and putting a charge, trying to charge me with a $130,000 bill, which I do not owe. There's never been any contract. And then I'm trying to gather up all the old documentation and also do a title search for Judge Naidu from the ecclesiastical court. And I'm so up to here with having to fight the legal battles. And yet I see others going through the exact same thing, where they do what's right. They present truthful testimony and affidavits that are simply brushed aside by the court, by the judges, by the attorneys, because everybody's running so scared. Everybody's trying to hang on to whatever they have. And it's not so bad if all we did was just hang on to what we have, but oftentimes the way we do it is try to force others to do it our way. And that's where we really get into trouble. And that's what really brings the sadness, because it's such an insanity. So crazy. And so many people don't seem to be getting it yet, which is why I feel such sadness. I wish I could just laugh and feel only the joy. And as I was meditating this morning, Spirit said just a little bit longer. Or at least that's the thought that I attributed to Spirit that flowed through my consciousness. And I am frustrated by hearing just a little bit longer. Not yet. It's like a carrot being dangled in front of me. And it's happening with all of us. We're going to change it. We're going to change it. Good is coming. Good is coming. When? Just a little bit longer. Just a little bit longer. So many of us want it to be over. Want it to be finished. Want it to be done. We want this whole mess, this whole insane duel and war to finally end. We want to experience the dancing in the streets. We want to experience the righting of wrongs. That we want to see justice. We want to see truth prevail. We want to see compassion. We want to see love. We want to experience these things for ourselves because we've experienced so much pain, so much trauma, so much disappointment. Lifetime after lifetime, that has been the human experience. The Buddhists call it suffering, and it certainly is. In this world, you shall have tribulation. In this world, you will suffer. But why? Why does it have to continue now that we're waking up? Sometimes I laugh until I cry. And sometimes, even when I laugh, it's forced laughter because I don't feel it. I don't feel it. I want to feel the bliss, and I have felt it. But there's times that I have to admit to myself, I can't laugh right now because it's not genuine. And I said I believe that laughter is one of those fake it till you make it things that I could believe in. But my experience is saying something else when the sadness is so overwhelming. It's hard to overcome that feeling and replace it with joy. At least that has been my experience the past few days. So anyway, I leave you with these thoughts this morning. I ask your prayers for Carolyn and for Bill, and for many others that you know that are going through hard times. I thank you for your support of what I'm doing, and others that are also trying their best to shine the light of truth in a world that is waking up, and that waking up will continue, and hopefully continue to accelerate as well, and hopefully the breaking point where really we can start to see things take a positive turn instead of more negativity. Hopefully that will happen very soon. Namaste. Namaste.